Y'all are going to get real sick of my thumbnails soon, man. I'm not making a new classy and creative thumbnail for each trade that happens today. So, you know what? Just get over it. But hey, first domino to fall today. I'm a little bit slow on it, but we're here to talk about it anyway. Buddy Hield, first big domino of the trade deadline, on his way to Philly, which is, I'm going to be honest, like, I didn't think it was actually going to happen. And I'm a little surprised that this is the package that it is. So in essence, Buddy Hield is headed to the Sixers for Marcus Morris, Furkan Korkmaz, who finally, after years of requesting trades, finally gets to go somewhere else. And then 3 second-round picks. So they didn't end up getting the first-round pick that they wanted for Buddy Hield. I really thought that it was going to be more of a player and a first-round pick for Buddy Hield, and I actually really thought he was going to end up in on the Lakers or something like that. But I guess that's not what happened. So let's talk about Buddy Hield really quick. Obviously, Buddy Hield, a tremendous scorer. He's also on the last year of his contract, so that's going to be something that Philly just has to work out on its own. But I'm glad to see that Philly's just not like giving up on the season with Embiid being sidelined for a while. They're getting Tyrese Maxey some immediate help. And what Buddy Hield did so good for the Pacers, which I'm not going to lie, I think the Pacers should have just kept him. I know that he requested a trade at one point, and so maybe they were pretty confident that he wasn't going to come back. But it's unfortunate because the Pacers are losing a lot in Hield. The spacing and gravity that Buddy Hield has is such an elite shooter. To pair with a guy like Tyrese Halliburton, who really likes to contribute and get the ball to other people, having a guy that's that willing to catch and shoot is just, it's such a nice combo to have with a pass first point guard and just a lethal shooter like that. Like, there's no hesitation in him. He's like a Michael Porter Jr., but smaller. We can take a look at his numbers this year. His points are a little bit down, but that's because there's been kind of some inconsistent flow in how Indiana's been kind of running their rotations this year, and that just is what it is. You're still getting a 38% shooter, and that's honestly one of the lower marks of his career, right? So that just tells you what Buddy Hield does, right? And you worry probably a little bit when he gets to Philly that there's maybe not going to be quite the spacing that there was in Indiana and the flow that they had to their offense. Like, maybe Buddy Hield doesn't completely fit in with him, but I know this is going to help Tyrese Maxey out a ton, and that's why they're doing it, right? Like, they're trying to give him more space to operate, right? Trying to give him more outlets as a passer for when people start to collapse on him, because that's what's going to happen without Embiid waiting in the paint now, right? When he tries to get going to the rim, like, they're going to send a second guy at him, and that's when it's going to be nice to have a kick and then a swing or something to a guy like a Buddy Hield, or a direct kick or something. Maybe he's coming off of a pin down or something during that moment. It's going to help open up their offense. It just will. I don't know if he'll be as effective as he was in Indiana, but it's a smart move in that sense. As far as what they're giving up and everything, like, we can take a look at Marcus Morris, and obviously Marcus Morris has had some pretty high highs in the NBA. I mean, even just as much as last year, only playing in 65 games, but 11 points a game, right? This year, 6.7. He's been kind of all over the place with his rotations between like the Clippers and then the Sixers and everything, but he's been relatively effective here, shooting 40% on 2.5 threes a game. He rebounds a little bit. He's a real tough player, so I'm sure Philly is going to hate losing him in that sense, but you're just getting a better player in Buddy Hield. And then you look at Korkmaz, right? Korkmaz is kind of seen as this guy that hasn't quite been able to find like his footing as like a spacer wing type player, mostly due to inconsistent minutes, right? Like, he's appeared in 35 games this year. He's hitting a decent clip, but he's not getting many attempts. He's just not getting a ton of shots, and that's presumably why he wanted to go somewhere else for so long. He's just never quite been given the opportunity to do so. But we've seen when he's got consistent minutes in the past, like, he's been a 40% shooter. It looks like this season here he fell off a little bit. I wonder what happened in that season. But anyway, historically he's been a very good shooter, and so I guess Indiana is at least getting a replacement in that. I assume Marcus Morris and Korkmaz both fit into the Pacers rotation because they don't have a ton of depth at those positions, especially now that Bruce Brown isn't there. And then the 3 second-round picks, like, it's so interesting to me that people just throw these second-round picks in nowadays. Like, people are so scared to trade first-round picks and everything that they're like, okay, we'll throw these seconds. Like, people will forget about the second-round picks and everything. I feel like the same thing's going to happen where, like, no teams are going to have, like, any picks, and, like, half the teams are going to have, like, all the second-round picks. Another, like, little section of the NBA is going to have all the first-round picks. It's just kind of a weird little breakdown. As far as looking at Philadelphia's, like, actual rotation right now, so Buddy Hield's going to slot in at the starting 2, most likely with Tyrese Maxey. Who they start at the 3 is still going to be Kelly Oubre. You got Tobias Harris then, and then Paul Reed's probably still going to be starting there with Mo Bamba being the backup center. I wouldn't be surprised if Philly tries to make another trade at some point today to try and find that center. I know they've been connected to like Andre Drummond because they want a more starter caliber player in there. Man, I hope the Bulls make a move today. Like, I'm a little confused because now they don't really have the second round picks to maybe make a trade like that happen. So I guess we'll see what moves they end up making there. But Buddy Hield's a nice addition there. Like, you have a good amount of spacing now between Oubre, Buddy Hield, Tobias Harris, to work with a kind of more of a drive-oriented Tyrese Maxey. I know he is taking more three-pointers, but I like the spacing, at least in that first five. The bench is a little bit suspect right now, and so we'll see if maybe they hit the buyout market or something. They may not be too favorable because they don't know what's going on with Embiid, but they've got something interesting to work with there. And then as far as like the Pacers rotation goes, I'm going to guess that this means that maybe like Mathurin or Naismith is playing the two now, or something, because I don't think Korkmaz or Morris are necessarily starters for this team. I'm actually pretty confident that they're not. Maybe I'll be wrong about that, but this definitely makes the Pacers a little bit weaker, right? But we're guessing that they had to get rid of him and he wasn't going to come back anyway, so they took on some expiring contracts and stuff like that and some money, and they got some picks for him. So good enough. Sorry, Indiana, this probably isn't going to help you guys this year or anything, but it might just be a move that you had to make. That's pretty unfortunate. If you're Philly, hey, you're holding on, right? You're trying. You must be thinking that Embiid's going to be coming back, because otherwise you wouldn't be doing something like this. So we'll see. For the time being, I find this really interesting. Glad the dominoes are falling. I can see Twitter's going off over here, so I probably got to make another video now. So y'all stay tuned. We'll be covering it all today. Thanks so much, y'all.